Hey everybody, it's Gary Vaynerchuk. This is the Pod Sessions. This is our 8th edition of this format where I bring in 3 individuals and we shoot the shit about different things, find out what they're obsessed about, talk a little bit about marketing and branding, talk a little bit about their worlds. And so I'm very excited to have 3 individuals here. They're all very attractive. So if you're listening on the podcast and not watching the YouTube, you've made a huge mistake. And I'm gonna let them all introduce themselves. So why don't we start with the lovely lady to my left?
Thank you. My name is Charly Arnolt, known in the WWE world as Charly Caruso.
Yes.
I'm an announcer for WWE. I do the interviews on Monday Night Raw, and I'm a studio host for the WWE Network.
Awesome. We'll get into how that happened. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Charly.
absolutely.
Glad
Thank
you're
you
here.
for having me.
Of course.
I'm Erik Jones. I drive the number 20 car in the Cup Series for Joe Gibbs.
And how long have you been in the Cup Series?
This is my 2nd year.
Okay. And how old are you?
22.
I know, I did a Ask Garyvee show with Kyle Busch, and we were talking a little bit about how everybody's younger in the game. So I'm excited to get into that. And where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Michigan.
Michigan. Awesome. Cool. Thanks for being here. And the Michigan race is coming up, right?
Yeah, next week. Not this weekend, next weekend. Yeah.
Do you feel extra pressure when you're there?
Not extra pressure, but I'd like to win there. That's
Do like your homies from like grade school come through?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
They
cool.
all roll
We'll
out.
get into that in a minute.
I'm Ty Dillon. I drive the 13 Geico Chevy in the Monster Energy Cup Series. I'm 26, and we are both rookies together, so it's our 2nd season.
Fantastic.
In the Cup Series.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
you're, I know from afar, just like looking at my social, like you've been like very good at adapting to the new world. Is that a big passion of yours?
Yeah, and it started from you. Honestly, I had my first daughter this off season, and so sitting around with her when she's a little baby, I was sitting on my phone. My barber actually told me, he's like, hey, you got to check out Garyvee. You got that kind of attitude just like him. You got to check out his content. That spurred me into, I think the first thing I did, I don't know why, but first thing I did was bought 2 tickets to South by Southwest, knowing that I wanted to get a videographer to start capturing content of what I liked. Then I met Joseph, put out an Instagram video saying, hey, and this is kind of from your playbook too, saying, hey, anybody young wants to go out and video my life and see what I do and capture content for me for a full year and do, I think I said 36 events with me. We're going to go and have some fun. Did that, started a vlog series, and it's just kind of gone from there. And it's been huge for me and in my career and what I'm doing.
It matters. Okay, what I want to do now is go back around. Charly, we'll start with you. This is my favorite part. This is probably why I did the show, because I think this is what I did in real life at dinners with friends and then business, and it's my favorite part of the show. I want to know what you're currently obsessed with. Now, this can be like something that's going on in NASCAR or Truck Series or the WWE, but I also think it's super interesting if it's like refinding, Trick cereal, or like a new shampoo, or like you found your buddy from 3rd grade and you're on a text chain. Like right now, like random ass shit. What are you obsessed with, Charly?
I'm obsessed with saying yes right now. I started a new kick a few weeks ago where I say yes to pretty much anything, and it's kind of been a great time. I kind of got into a routine where I feel like my life got very routine. And, I would come home from work. I would watch some Netflix. I would, eat my meal prepped dinners. And it got kind of boring. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, why am I living such a complacent lifestyle when I'm in one of the greatest cities in the world and I have so many opportunities at my fingertips? And a friend had mentioned to me that she started saying yes to more. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. And I have been so busy this summer now with just so many different types of things. I've met so many people, and it's all because I've started saying yes to things.
I love that. I'm such a big, I have a lot of content on yes when it comes to business, but when it comes to life, that makes so much sense. Good for you. What's the most ridiculous thing you've done in your yes journey?
Oh, let's see. I just traveled to Ibiza a few weeks ago. It was a trip that I've wanted to take for so long, but it's one of those
sounds
like,
terrible.
Oh, it was a blast, but it's,
Oh, I know it was a blast.
and I said yes to a lot of things while I was there as well,
sure.
which also led to me having a blast.
Yes.
But it was, I was there for 2.5 days, and I was like,
That's
who
about
cares?
a day and a half too much.
Let's
to be
do
in a
it. And it was so much fun. And I met a ton of cool people who live in New York who I've already connected with since I've been back. And
I love it.
It's been great.
Good for you. What are you obsessed with, my man?
Right now, motorcycles. I don't know why. Yeah,
And have you, given that you grow, for a lot of us that maybe did not grow up in racing or car culture, it seems that's an easy jump. But is this a new thing for you? Like you were never into them? Yeah.
Yeah, it's new.
Like is everybody around you like, oh fuck, that's real dangerous shit?
Everybody says it's a very bad idea.
There's something so weird. Like motorcycles genuinely make like the math. I like things that are logical. Like I'm very fascinated that more people will die from texting and driving in tomorrow than from terrorism in the next 5 years in America. Yet the delta of how we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But motorcycles are a son of a bitch. Like people really get fucked up on motorcycles. Like the other one I love is hippos and sharks. Like hippos kill so many fucking people. And
more
yet
than
we love
sharks.
hippos because of hungry hippos and they're so cute. And sharks were scared shitless and they kill like 8 people a year. So why did you get into it?
I want one. I mean, number one.
But like what? You like saw some dude on Instagram on a motorcycle like it's time, or did you watch a movie, or did your buddy tell you?
No, so I wanted a motorcycle instead of a car when I was 16.
Okay.
And I'd saved up my own money to buy a car, but that got shut down very quickly. Still
Your own
live at
motorcycle,
home.
you mean?
Yes.
When you were 16, you saved up the money to buy your own motorcycle.
That's what I
And
wanted.
your mom's like, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty
Okay, keep going.
So I never got the motorcycle.
Understood.
So
now you're like, I'm 22 now, I might as well do it?
yeah.
Okay, fair
But it might have to wait.
Why?
Well,
Because your team doesn't want you to?
I don't
like,
think they'd appreciate it.
No, I get it, right?
Maybe,
like,
I mean-
you know, it's funny. My brother AJ and I have started Vayner Sports. We're only repping football players, but a lot of guys, a lot of teams want motorcycle clauses, literally motorcycle clauses.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger, remember?
No, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
What football team do you like?
Lions. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so fucking proud of you. I swear to God, I was sitting like a cobra in the grass right now. I'm like, if this fucking dude from Michigan doesn't say Lions because he wasn't supporting the local team because they've sucked shit his whole life, I'm not going to like him as much.
Yeah.
Now I like you twice as much than 13
answer.
seconds ago.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I
Now,
like
I don't know
all
if you
the-
know
all the
this,
Detroit teams.
but Monday night opener this year, Jets-Lions.
Really? I didn't know
Yes,
that.
I did because I love the Jets more than I love everything.
Okay. Well, you're sticking with the team too, then.
100.
I mean,
First of all, it's a ridiculously terrible Monday night game, Jets-Lions. I still have not figured. I've not figured out what the
That's
NFL
how-
is
that's how
thinking.
we're
It can
kicking it
only go
off.
up from there, though, right?
Yeah.
September 17th, you're done with the season.
is that here? Or
It will be in
there?
Detroit.
Oh
You're-
yeah, I'll be home.
Do you want to go to the game with me?
Yeah, I'll go to the game.
We're done.
I love the Lions.
All right.
I go to a lot of
It's
games.
gonna be a funny picture on social. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, that happened!"
That's awesome. Me, I've got a couple things. I've obviously got my daughter, so watching her grow has been awesome.
Crazy,
for me.
right?
That's
The
amazing.
first year is just nuts.
Yeah, it's blowing my
You're
mind.
scared shitless, right?
Definitely, every day, yeah.
I remember when my daughter was born, I'd come home like late from work, and like 19 times I'm like out of nowhere, I'm like, she's not breathing. I just have to go. I know
Yeah.
she's not breathing. She's gonna die.
If they're not crying, you're more worried.
Yeah, 100%. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Big-
that's
big
the
life
first
change.
one. The second one is football.
But don't like play to the crowd. Tell me something weird.
Weird. Okay, so it's going to sound general and first, but
Okay.
it's going to get real specific. So football and
American football.
American football, best football. I'm a diehard Carolina Panthers fan.
Okay.
Grew up, born and raised in North
Yep.
Carolina.
Yep.
But to the point where I will break down every film of every game throughout the
Love that.
season. And
You'll watch film
make
of the
notes and
Because that's what you do for your own sport, right?
yeah,
Like you've watched
sort
the
of,
right?
yeah, prepared and everything. But I have dreams one day after the sport of being a general manager of a football team or owning a team. I don't think I want to own. I think I want to run personnel. So I go in and make notes of every practice things that I would see different, do different.
We have a kid we represent named Kyle Allen, who's on
Yep.
right now trying to make the team as the third quarterback, who I think is a really like a diamond in the rough. He was like one of the top. Like people when he was 17, people thought he was going to go number 1 overall in this draft, and he went undrafted. Carolina signed him UDFA, but it was really unbelievable to like do the homework on the circumstances of what happened to him at Texas A&M in Houston. It's got the narrative to really work out. I'm hoping he sticks in Carolina.
He came in after Manziel, right?
Yeah, but then another kid the following. There's so much. I grew up in the Northeast where college football is nothing.
Yeah.
For me, it was the NFL, the NBA, WWF in my day. But I had no idea how much the boosters really drove shit in college football. Texas A&M was super political.
Yeah.
Super fascinating stuff.
I just saw Kyle because I went and watched training camp live on Monday. So I drove
you're
down to
a
Spartanburg.
hardcore
I'm
Panthers fan.
hardcore. Same thing with baseball. I love analytics of baseball.
So
study
who are you a fan of in baseball?
Atlanta Braves, is the closest one.
Yep.
And there's been like talk of Charlotte getting a team that's right near our house. If that happened, I would just
You'd lose your shit.
it'd be insane. I don't know what I would do with my career that I've got going now in NASCAR, but man, it'd be big. My wife wouldn't like it, but
Let's go into origin stories. Let's paint a picture for everybody. Let's do a 2, 3 minute, 4 minute. Who are you? Where are you born? How'd you get into what you're into? What are you into? Blah, blah, blah.
All right. I was born in Indianapolis,
Okay.
Indiana. So I was, I've been around racing, a good portion of my life. Going to the Indy, I know it's not NASCAR, but I've been going to the Indy 500 my whole life.
Yep.
I went on to work in television. I went to American University. Always knew I wanted to work in television. Never knew exactly which path I wanted to take, but I always said I wanted to be the next Oprah. That was always my big thing growing up. So, and someone actually just commented on my photo today, Charly or Oprah, and I was best compliment I've ever gotten in my life. And of course now it's on an Instagram photo. But
do you want to hear a really fun fact? You should go look at Oprah's first Instagram photo ever.
Really?
I'll just leave it at that.
Okay,
All
done.
right, keep going.
So I graduated with a broadcast journalism degree from American. Went to
Were
Huntington.
you out of control in college, or were you super focused?
I was pretty focused. I was in a sorority and we had our parties
Right.
here. The Chi Omegas do not drink, whatever.
Really?
We drank.
Okay.
Anyways,
Figured.
no. So yeah, I had a good time, but I was always I'm super type A to a fault.
Got it.
Sometimes
So- right.
3.95 GPA.
So you're like,
graduated
that boy's
with.
cute, but I'm gonna be the next Oprah. Fuck you, Johnny.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I tried to skip class once in college. I freaked out. I ran to class. No attendance was even taken. That's how I was. So
Understood.
went to Huntington, West Virginia for my first job. One-man band reporter, carried all my shit with me. Went and interviewed people about overdosing on bath salts. It was a very interesting terrain in West Virginia.
Yes.
Went on to Kansas City, Missouri. Still reporting news there. Went back to Indianapolis, my hometown. That's when I got into sports anchor, sports reporter. And then from there, WWE saw my work, asked me to audition.
On a local network.
Yeah, I was working for the Fox station there.
doing sports reporting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
the Colts are playing the Browns this weekend.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay.
And WWE, I was actually, the way it happened, I was backstage at SmackDown. It was in Indianapolis. And I ran into the head of talent relations. His name was Mark Carano. And at this point, my contract with Indianapolis had just expired. I didn't want to renew it. And so I said, hey, I recognize you from the show Total Divas, which is that reality show. And I said, I'm a sportscaster. Would you mind taking a look at my work? And he said, sure. Didn't really follow up with me. So I reached out again a few months later. And he's like, you're good. I like you. I'm going to pass this along. So then he passed it along to Michael Cole, who I know you know who he is. And from there, they had me come audition. And the rest is history. Here I am.
Good for you.
So
Did you grow up watching wrestling at all?
I was a fan at the beginning of middle school. So 6th, 7th grade, height
you-
of the Attitude Era.
Got it, right. So the
When
Stone Cold, everybody cared about wrestling.
Everybody loved it.
And so who were your favorites then? Mankind or
The Rock I'm still obsessed with The Rock. I secretly.
because he's secretly Oprah.
Oh, he's great. Everything about
The Rock
great.
is actually Oprah right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
He's fantastic. So still love him.
Yeah, he's amazing. Origin story, brother. Lions
Man,
fan from the get.
Yeah, Lions fan from the start. I got kind of an odd story for racing, at least where
Okay.
I'm at. I started when I was 7, so I started very young in go-karts, and I started moving up through the ranks
Why?
after that. Why
Did
did I
that
start
happen
racing?
even?
So
Was your family into it, or you
No.
stumbled into it?
no, I more so stumbled into it. My family never raced, but
Yep.
I was always a fan of cars, and
Okay.
my mom actually got me into it, got me started in it. So
Why, she just wanted you out of the house, or?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very good at any other sports, and I didn't have any hobbies. So
She's like, get the fuck out of here.
yeah,
Go right.
she's like, go do this instead.
Okay.
So we
And
get
it clicked-
going.
Did it click right away?
Was I good right away,
Yeah.
or did I like it?
How about
I mean,
both?
immediately I liked it right away. I loved
Yeah.
it. And I guess I was decent off the bat. I mean, we won some races, but
Yep.
from there I started moving up into some lower stuff outside of NASCAR, late models they call them, around that area. And I was racing there until I was about 16, and I got an opportunity actually from Kyle. I was racing against him, and he came down and raced one of those races. There's no rules in racing; you can go back, run whatever series you want. And we were
Why
racing
do
each
guys
other.
do that to work on something? It's almost like a AAA thing, or they're
Just
giving
keep-
love to the community,
yeah.
or it's a mix of many things.
It's just a totally that series, that type of racing we were running is a very different car than NASCAR.
That's right.
And
Some
they're
guys just miss it
different.
and like it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a respect back to the sport because it's still not easy to go back and beat those guys who run that car every single weekend at that same track.
That makes sense.
And it's a fun thing too, because it gets back to your
Like
your initial roots.
So like when Kyle comes and visits and he's already in the big series, like is that fun? You're like, oh shit, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. I mean, like you wanna win,
It's like when
right?
it's like when Kershaw gets hurt and does a AAA start in New Mexico, and everyone's like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
I love that. I love that part of AAA baseball or AA baseball, like when it's a small town or what have you, and like a
Gets
big
a big
league
star,
star has to
yeah.
come through just for a rehab start.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
But
so
anyways, I was
what? You raced in a race with him, and he just saw the talent.
we raced at the end, and I ended up beating him in that race, and he gave me an opportunity, and that was 2012, so 2013, to drive his truck. He has a truck team there, and I started racing for him, and we won a race in 2013, and he gave me more opportunities, and we kept winning, and just moved into a role over at Joe Gibbs Racing after that. So it was, there's a lot to it. I could talk about.
I'm sure,
that
but that's the origin story.
That's
Is
the
beating
quick.
him in a race in that series opened up doors. You kept performing.
Yep.
You're on the big show.
Yeah.
And how is the big show?
It's tough.
Is it
it's
fucking
hard.
crazy?
It's fun. I love it, but it's tough. It's tough. It's very
Because the
challenging.
transition to the car is so different.
The car and the competition. The competition level is very, very high in Cup. I mean, everybody's really good. From first to 40th, everybody's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about Cup is at one point I would
Have
say
you won a race there yet?
one, yeah, just this year.
Did you fucking freak your shit?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I was losing it.
Was that
yeah.
crazy?
Oh yeah, I was not.
Was that the goal this year? Like, I got to get a win on the board?
Yeah, for me. I mean, I wanted to last year. We had an opportunity to win last year a couple times, and we didn't really execute on it.
Yeah.
Kyle actually
Beat you?
spoiled one of them, for me. But
Yeah, he seems like a real dick.
yeah, he just
Like, I love it. I love how competitive he is, actually.
he came up and drove by me with about 50 laps to go, and just kind of
Peaced out.
deuces, and I ran second. So yeah, I mean that was a big goal though. Yeah, get a win. You want to be a winner, at the Cup
course.
level.
Good for you.
If you'll execute.
What other interests do you have outside of motorcycles and cars? Like, outside
man.
that niche? Is there, what else
Outside of
grabs at
racing?
you? Yeah,
Um,
cooking or TV shows or...
I wish I was into cooking. I wish I was good at it. No, I love to golf, and
Interesting.
golf, scuba dive. I'm a scuba diver. I haven't been as much, but I like to scuba dive.
Nice.
Been a big outdoors fan.
Got
Just
it.
like being outside,
Nice.
doing whatever.
Love it. Oh, man.
For me, so I grew up in a racing family. My grandfather's Richard Childress, who owned Dale Earnhart's
I'm super
number
aware who
3
that
car.
is.
Yep. So he's won 7 championships with Dale Earnhardt, and then championships
So
through
you
the Xfinity
really,
Series.
I mean, you grew up in, like, let's just, I know a lot of people who are listening who don't know the sport, you kind of grew up in royalty, not even in, like, a
Yeah,
family.
I mean, a
Isn't that-
racing.
I mean,
in
isn't
a
that,
sense,
that must be
I don't-
stupid pressure.
somewhat, but honestly, my grandfather, my parents, my dad raced also. They never pushed it on us. I wanted to play middle linebacker in football. That's
Right.
what I wanted to do.
And then you realized, oh, fuck.
I'm too small.
Yeah. What year was
so-
that? What was that, 4th grade, 7th
Junior
grade?
Pee Wee.
Yeah.
I was going to Pee Wee football, and the hits were getting harder.
You were like,
Yeah, it's like I was like 13.
You're like,
yeah.
why is this guy running over me?
Yeah, I was like 13, and was fortunate enough to have a grandfather just that I could call and say, hey, I want to try racing. And I had seen kids our age running around a track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's inside of the track. It's a quarter mile. And from that day, got in the car for the first time. It was like whatever's in his blood, my dad's blood, it clicked. And
Really?
I remember leaving the track that day, and I knew I loved what I just did. And my grandfather and my dad, my mom, all had a conversation with my brother and I. We both started at the same time. He was 15, and I was 13. I made the call. He might say it, but I made the call to get us our first test. We left the track, and they said, if this is what you guys want to do, you're going to commit to it. If you really feel like you want to do this, we'll commit, and we'll try to make it happen, and you guys can race as much as you want, but you're going to commit to doing it and do it right.
Right, you
You're
can't
gonna-
be half pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. And at that time, at 13, I was like, for sure, I'm in. I'm going to do it.
Right.
I'm going to be great. And I committed. We committed, and I ran 70 to 80 races a year, leaving school on Thursdays and Fridays and doing all my homework Sunday night, get home Sunday night. Even when I was 16 in high school, I would go off. My dad would be at the racetrack helping our cup teams. I would be racing a dirt car out in the Midwest and drive home, do homework. Then once I got to high school, I did more one-on-one classes. Really just committed my life to racing and was successful all the way up through. And you get the haters that say because it's your family.
Of course.
But I was able to be successful. And you don't get to the Cup Series just off of being
You're
helped the whole way.
lasting.
You don't last. But now I made it to the Cup Series. I won in the Truck Series. My first year, won 2 races, beat Kyle in my first for my first win, which was huge because I look up to his talent. I mean, he's our best driver in the sport right now, I feel like, talent-wise. And be him
Who's
for my
this
first win.
Truex guy that I just found out about? Who's from
Yeah, Martin.
Jersey?
Yeah.
And he's got like a wrestling name. That's literally
Yeah.
what I was thinking. They're like, Truex, you know, it's like,
He's tearing it up the last few years.
yeah, what's
That
going on
team's
with
in-
these three guys? It sounds like have won like almost every fucking race this
Yeah,
year.
they're dominating
Almost.
for sure.
Is everybody else pissed?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect answer.
Yeah. So, and then one early in the Xfinity series, one at Indianapolis was my first win there,
Ooh.
and to get a win at the Brickyard was huge. Just so much history, and now my second year in the Cup Series, I'm not racing for my grandfather's team. I had raced for his team my whole career, and
Why did that happen?
just because I'd ran Xfinity 3 years and he had drivers on contracts for his jobs and sponsor obligations, and I felt like I was ready.
That's cool.
To make the next level, and the team
That
is
says
actually
a lot about everybody
Yeah.
in that story.
yeah, and it's been really awesome for me. The team is still a technical alliance, so we share information with my grandfather's team, but we are our own separate entity still. All the cars come out of a different shop that's actually an hour away. So been racing for them for 2 years, and we had their most successful season last year in my rookie season, statistic-wise across the board, and we're really trying to build a program. And it's up and down, like he said, going from Truck Series I won and was in my rookie year, was battling for a championship, all the way down to last race and got wrecked by a good friend now, but Kyle Larson making his first or second start ever in the Truck Series. He wrecked me, and I lost the championship. And
So you hated his face.
for a while, yeah. Now
Like
we're
2 years? Or?
Yeah, about 2 years,
Yeah.
and then I got to know him a little bit better. Same thing. Xfinity Series was battling for championships, and now in the Cup Series, it's like taking 3 steps, and it's so much tougher. But we're battling, and I feel like
What's
there's
been
good things
your best
coming.
result so far?
6th this year, the race he won, finished 6th.
Interesting.
Yep. Actually filled in for Tony Stewart 3 years ago when he had a back injury. And finished 6th in his car, but he started the race. He got out. I got in the car and
Really?
finished 6th.
I didn't know
So
that
So
happened.
then that doesn't count.
unofficially, I didn't get the finish for that.
He
so
does?
He gets
He
sixth
got
place.
this, really, the person that starts.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I crossed the line, finished
I
sixth.
heard you loud and clear. I understood.
Yeah, I wish the statistics.
Yeah, I get it.
But it's been an awesome career, and then I've just been trying to make the most out of this moment in my life, and
With the vlogging and the
with
social.
everything. Yeah, and it found me here today, which is as you can tell, I'm so excited. This is really cool for me.
Flattered. Actually, let's make that transition. I know that Tyler got a hold of you and your team, and so I'm glad you're here. So for you, Charlie, how do you think about social, Instagram? What do you use? What do you like? How much of an impact does it have? What's good about it? What's bad about it?
I mean, it's such a wide spectrum from what's great about it to what's terrible about it, in my opinion. I mean, it's one of those things that's not going anywhere. It's getting bigger and bigger as the days go by. So I'm just trying to embrace it as much as I can. I mean, as far as building
Take me back to Type AU. We don't drink. We don't drink. Like, were you a Facebook girl back then? Were you what yours were? What did you use back then? Anything? Nothing?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was.
Did you grow up on MySpace as a kid?
MySpace. I had the top 8.
Like, were you strategic about your top 8?
Absolutely.
And, like,
I
when
mean,
you
you would
would
get taken. You did something wrong. You're out of there.
So when you would drop somebody like Carol from science class from your top 8, and you came to school that day, because I was an old man by the time MySpace came.
It made a difference.
Yeah, for you youngsters,
Avoid eye
like,
contact.
was it like a real thing?
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was very much like
I think somebody
disowning
needs. I
a
think somebody
friend.
needs to bring back the top 8 dynamic. And so, like, I think I've actually been having this weird feeling. This just not a dream, not a daydream, but this overall feeling that I feel like there's these 2 girls somewhere in like the suburbs of Denver working on an app. I can feel it, like, like the Force. I feel like it's Star Wars. I feel like I'm so in tune with the social media zeitgeist that I think we're on the verge of something coming out. And now I'm going to try to use my powers to make those kids decide to make it more about top 8 dynamics.
Oh, we can't
geez.
offend
Do we want
anybody
that?
anymore.
Do we want that now?
Oh,
Everyone's so sensitive
Is this where
now.
you're going with this?
I'm just
Do you
saying.
feel like no? Listen,
I
I
think
think
that's why.
we're not going to go overly political, but like
yeah.
you believe even in this short 10, 12, 15 year window that the top 8 dynamic would not play in the current state of like people
I think
offended
so.
about everything.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. I think I think the country's very split now on the defending. To me, I'm unbelievably socially liberal and like think everybody should love everybody, but I will say like 8th place trophies is the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I loved about like the thing that I've loved so far talking about like all this energy of like competitiveness and things of that nature is I don't understand how people want to put their kids in situations where they aren't winning and losing. You fundamentally don't set them up for success. Yeah. They're like finished.
Yeah, my dad never let me win
anything.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Not so I could beat him.
I'm like destroying my 6-year-old son and everything, and like the whole family's like bent out of shape, but like he's gonna be a loser otherwise. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, I mean, there was that big debacle over the participation awards. Remember, when was that, a couple years ago?
Good news. I have that as a macro thesis for like the last 20 years. Like, I also think school does that a lot. I actually think, back to being type A, like student life, there's been this enormous push on being an entrepreneur, which I'm very in, and I failed in school for a reason. Winning in school is an incredible skill. You figure out the system and you play it. The problem is, much like the shift from truck to the cup, right? Being an entrepreneur is literally like swimming versus cooking to being good at school. They're like completely different. Yeah. And I think that fake environments, is what I call them, are very, very, very dangerous. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a matter of fact, you're probably successful because your family overcorrected to not put you in a fake environment because of the lineage and the last name. Like, that's the only way you could be this happy and successful.
Yeah, I almost overcorrected I was working on my car at certain levels. I had smaller teams than other people, and I probably had more backing and capability.
You had to, because this dude coming up who like came out of left field from a different place with not that background, you can't help it as a human. You're gonna deploy that cynicism and then if you're the outsider and not with it, that's the chip. And if you're in it, you've got the reverse is the chip.
It's definitely the reverse.
100%.
Sure. Yeah. So what do you want to shove it in everybody's face when it comes back?
Like the "I told you so" is the most fucking delicious flavor ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that now? Like clearly you're on a pretty big stage now.
Yeah.
You've been talking shit your whole life with your friends that like, I'm gonna be on TV. Yeah. Like clearly some of them like smiled in your face but didn't think so. Do you love coming back to Indy and being like, fuck you, motherfucker?
You know what? I personally don't, because
That's just not your style.
I always knew that I was going to be successful. Right. I mean, I
and you didn't give a fuck what Karen said.
No, I didn't care about Karen. Fuck Karen.
You hate Karen.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew I was going to be successful, whether, whatever path I took. I don't accept failure. I mean, I'm telling you, when I say I'm type A, it's a beautiful thing, because it makes it so that I will never accept failure as even a remote possibility.
How do you what's the fine line between determination and delusion?
I don't know. I think if you, I don't think you can be delusional. I mean, if you're willing to put the work in.
Well, I don't know if you've ever watched American Idol, but here's what it used to look like. Hi, Simon. Right. I'm like the next Beyonce. Wow, very exciting. Please sing. Like that's delusion.
Okay, right. So
like these guys came up with guys driving their homies at 16. They're fucking stealing a beer from the 7-Eleven after a race, and Rick looks at them and be like, "Motherfucker, I'm gonna be there one day." And they're through their heads, they're like, "I know this you have no shot." That's delusion.
True. I stand corrected.
And by the way, I'll be honest with you. It was funny to hear you pause a little bit. I was literally laughing really fast in my head. I'm like, I'm glad nobody's ever asked me that question, because I don't know either. Like it's super hard to figure. Like it seems like an incredible fine line.
It's like intuition. I feel like it's like more intuition, whether you can keep going, and that you don't want to give up because you've got it, right?
It's like being honest with yourself, right?
Well, I mean, for me, like, I'd be delusional for me to say, I'm going to go on American Idol and even have a chance at winning, because I am an awful singer. I am the worst. But
I'm really bad too.
I'm talking about.
You're what?
I'm a great singer.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well.
No. On a very serious note, because you're kind of got the joke face right now. Do you think you can sing a little bit?
No.
Okay, good.
I mean,
I saw the joke face. Okay.
Like karaoke. Yeah.
Like what do you say? What's your go-to karaoke song?
Should have been a cowboy.
That was exactly what I thought you were going to say.
I love
All right, finish this.
But if you have a skill set that you're good at,
and
then you push in that direction, I mean, then.
Do you have siblings?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of like mom and dad situation did you have?
I'm
the best.
I mean, yes, my mother still to this day, like, she calls me so many times a day. I'm like, Mom, we've already talked 3 times today. I love you, but there's nothing left to say today. Let's
Right.
let's
Right.
shut this down. But my mother was always more the like doting and, you know, everything I did was perfect, which
She was the cheerleader.
yes.
Okay. Dad?
Dad was the opposite and still is. Like he will not
And so
tell
do you,
me what I
you know
wanna
what's
hear.
super interesting, and I had this. Do you think the polar opposites of how they did it in that pulling, you were able to develop the strength, make the diamonds from that pressure?
Yeah, I think so because
Because you learned both behaviors.
yeah, and if you have just one, I think it could push you in a certain direction. But if you have both,
I think that's, thoughts on that?
I had that. My mom was definitely a cheerleader, always had the back of her babies. And then my dad was on the other side, like, no, hell no, make him do this right. He's got to do it right. And I think it carved me a perfect path to be who I am now.
What about for you?
They were both pretty hard on me.
Yeah,
I was
I
not.
get it.
I was really not a good kid though. Like, I was not a good kid.
Like
I
you were a
was-
straight dick?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Why?
I wouldn't want to deal with me. Why? I
Yeah,
don't
what was
know.
going through? Well, yes, you do. Let's get into psycho class here. Like what was
why?
happening? Like you were mad at the world, or you thought it was funny?
I thought I was very funny. I thought I was very funny. And I hated school.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
and
fucking.
that was,
Well, no, I know you.
I was
like
always in trouble in school.
And what you thought you were funny, and you found one or two other fucking dick faces, and you
Yeah.
guys created a crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
There was
right.
like- there was like
I
three of
told
us,
you,
yeah.
I'd figure it out in 1 second. It's just fucking
we
textbook.
were real smart. A lot of talking back
Yep.
in class, at
Yep.
home,
Yep.
to everyone.
And where are those homies now?
I don't hang out with them.
Come on.
I don't. I haven't seen them in a long time.
Will they show up to the Michigan race though and have like a sign like "Yo, fuckface"?
Oh yeah,
Like, you
Some
know,
of
like,
them will,
yeah.
I still talk to them sometimes. We
I
keep in
get
touch.
it. I have the same thing going. Okay, so back to social.
Yeah. I mean,
What do you-
social,
what do you
social
love?
media, I love it because you can connect with so many different types of people, whether it's in your industry or otherwise. I mean, I just started getting more into fitness. I just got my personal training certification a few weeks ago. It's another area that I want to pursue and
Has
hopefully.
it run through your mind to wrestle? Like being around it. Are you you come in, I heard your background,
Yeah.
right? You're a sportscaster, you're right. Like, at one point you're thinking Cole, Ross, even what McMahon, Jesse the Body Ventura used to be very, very, very good at the announcer game. You come in thinking about those things, and who else knows what you were thinking, like SportsCenter or
Yeah.
like whatever you're thinking. But being in the culture of it, because you guys fucking work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys are on the road a lot. Has it crossed your mind to wrestle?
I mean, I'd be lying if it say that it didn't.
I knew it.
However-
I always feel like this is back to the linebacker thing. The thing about wrestling that's interesting, back to a Rey Mysterio Jr. or others, is like you may not have the size, but you could figure your way. Like Mike from fucking Real World, like the Miz,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like it just feels achievable-ish, kinda.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's not
there's-
delusional.
Oh, it's very
No.
delusional. But
I was just wondering.
But no, to your point, and it's a great jump in. I think the easiest way to get delusional is to be suffocated in the culture of. If you're there, everything you just you start, you're just in the bubble, right?
Yeah, and it
like,
looks easy.
I think NASCAR makes me laugh because I know dudes like, unlike football or other things, it's driving. We do it.
Yeah.
And so, like, for a lot of people, they don't play that sport anymore. They only did a long time ago, but they're still driving in there. I'm sure all these idiots think that they can do it.
Well, plus, I mean, anybody can pick up a set of golf clubs and know they're not Tiger Woods, right?
Yeah.
You
But
can't
there's
just go hop in a
I
car
think
and
the
try to
worst
race.
version of it in culture right now, to be very honest, is actually my game, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I mean, every single Instagram photo is entrepreneur because they fucking came up with a brand name for t-shirts and made 15 t-shirts and think they're fucking, gonna build a $1 trillion empire. I mean, the entrepreneur delusion is really tough because unlike NASCAR or being on TV or other sports, nobody really knows what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
All those things are front facing. With entrepreneurship, you're like, yeah, I'm working on my thing. So you can't keep score. You don't see it until the end, which is why it's super dangerous. So anyway, sorry, we keep
No.
we keep running around. So you love that you can connect.
Yeah, it's great.
The fitness thing.
It's great to connect because not being in that world, like it's not like I've worked my way up in that world where I've
Yes.
met people along the way. It's like now I'm just able to like find people and connect with them instantly, which is really cool. So I love that. I love being able to build my platform and get exposure and being able to like build my brand in the different sectors that I'm interested in. So I really enjoy social media for those reasons. And I know
What
that
don't you like?
I don't like the fact that everyone is getting everyone's getting stupider. I mean, communication is suffering so much where like you'll be in a room with all your friends and you're all on your phones, and I'll like notice and I'll be like,
Well, let
oh,
me
well.
hold on. Let's talk about this because I have a very, very unique point of view on this. As someone who's older than you three, let me tell you what Friends did in 1999 when they were all in a room. We watched fucking TV. Like, friends aren't supposed to be talking to each other every fucking second of every minute. And like, that's what friends do. Like, when we're together, a lot of times we're not talking every second. So all of us breaking into our phone and doing that is what we used to do when we collectively watched a show. And yes, to your point, maybe when we're watching that wrestling match, we could be like, oh, that's funny, haha, and have that collective. But I do think that we're over scrutinizing our behavior in this, because the reality is we always did, like, people are like, oh, everyone's painting a picture of their best selves and a PR of themselves on social. True. Let me tell you how that used to work. You'd go outside and you'd talk to your neighbor and they'd be like, how are things going? Oh, phenomenal. Ricky's going to be fucking in NASCAR and Susan's going to be on TV and like everything's great. And meanwhile, like fucking dad's an alcoholic and everyone's like we always front.
Yeah.
All that social media is doing is exposing on digital what we always were and do. Thoughts, Charlie?
I think that you're correct in a sense that yes, like we're all sitting in a room and we're watching TV, fine, but people are on their phones when they're walking down the street. People are on their phones.
What did you
when they're
want them
in
to
their
do? Look at a fucking tree?
I don't know. I mean, but you miss everything that goes by though. It's like,
What?
oh, did you see that? No, I'm sorry. I was staring at an Instagram picture that I've already looked at 6
Help
times.
me. See what? The squirrel ate a fucking like.
Yes!
But I'd rather see fucking World Stars premiere of fucking the new fucking
Star.
like Euro Got It fucking video. Like this. Let me tell you what you're doing that I believe is the most interesting human condition. We put the past on a pedestal and we fearmonger the current and future. It's just what we do. For example, this you will remember. Remember how outrageous what Miley Cyrus did on the fucking MTV Music Awards only 7-8 summers ago? It was so outrageous. That's like a lame Instagram post today.
Yeah. Everything gets elevated, right?
100%. Like, we are funny as a people. Like, listen, I understand your point. I genuinely think what's in my phone is more interesting than the fucking cloud shaped like a fucking unicorn.
Fair.
And I think that we're I think we're demonizing it. Here's the good news. You could do whatever the fuck you want.
It's true.
You want to put your phone in your fucking little jean jacket here and look at the
I have
fucking
it in there. There's some pockets open.
and look at, oh, look what just happened. A car drove by. Knock yourself out. But I think we're putting things of the past on a pedestal. And my point is, humans will pick what they want. Humans do what they want to do. So when I go out and see a couple having dinner and they're not both on the phone, that tells me that's not a good relationship. Not, oh, I hate technology, because I'm old enough remembering going out to dinner and did think it was interesting that I could sit next to a couple and they wouldn't say a fucking word to each other the whole dinner.
Yeah.
And and I didn't even understand that because I'm a big talker. My family, it's very loving. Like, now I'm like, oh shit. And so to me, weirdly, when I see people on the phone, I'm like, oh, thank God we have phones now where people can do what they actually want to do.
But do you ever find yourself picking up your phone and going onto Instagram, let's say, and just scrolling, and like it's mindless, like you don't even realize you're on it, then you're like wait,
watching TV or going through
I've already seen all this and I don't even know why I'm
Do
on
you know how
it.
many fucking times you went through Vogue at 13 that you saw 900 times?
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, we haven't changed. You going through your Instagram feed, you literally went through fucking 17 magazine like 900 times. And that, guess what? That was the same shit. Yeah. Good news, Instagram's not. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about this conversation? Are you fear-mongering technology? You're clearly not, but.
Oh, you think I'm on the edge or what?
I don't know. I'm excited to hear your truth.
I'd probably have a flip phone if I could. Yeah.
Right, you love this, like, I'm fucking outdoors, fuck new technology. Like, you're into that.
I gotta keep that.
Like,
old
I'd
school,
rather
new
go to a
school.
lake and fucking shoot a deer, like that, right?
I do like that.
I respect that. I that's where you've taken it as an ideology.
Yeah, a little bit.
What do, if anything, do you like about modern technology? Netflix, phones?
It's convenient. Yeah, I mean the convenience, right?
Right.
Directions anywhere. I mean, you can go online, look anything up.
Right.
You know,
But real quick, I apologize to cut you off real quick, because, by the way, they love who's watching when I cut people off. Literally, I should never have guests on any kind of show. It's the only time my audience is like, you're such a fucking dick. Like, just let somebody say something. But I want to say a story, because I got to get it off. When I was a kid, unlike you three fuckfaces, when you wanted to meet your friend after school, it was like this kind of shit. Yo, all right, so 4:30 at the fucking mall fountain, and crazy shit would happen. Like, you know, a car accident would happen somewhere, and the person would be late, and you'd be like, well, I guess Josh is not gonna come. And you just leave, and the next day at school, be like, yo, where were you? Like, this actually happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. So you like
What was I
direction?
saying?
You were saying it's kind of cool that I have a phone now, so
the
I can use
convenience,
Waze and
yeah.
get to the fucking place.
Yeah, I mean, the convenience is great.
Yep.
You know, I don't like it's taken out, you know, you can look up any answer quickly. I don't know if I necessarily like that all the time.
Interesting.
That's,
I can see where you're going. Go
you
with
know
that.
what I mean by that? Like,
I do.
Everybody's smart.
yeah, I mean, it kind of takes away some general knowledge things. Like, everybody's...
Yeah, but then they were putting general knowledge on a pedestal, and actually, in essence, it was a commodity.
Yeah.
So you're going to the place I'm very passionate about with school, which is like, I do not want to send my kids to school to memorize shit.
Right.
When the fucking answer's on the phone.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
I was right on the tip of that when I was in school. Like, you could kind of look stuff up right away. I mean, but I didn't have a phone. Like, we didn't have smartphones yet.
Right,
when I
of
was
course.
in that part of school, but
So what do you use, if anything, now? Nothing?
social media wise,
Yeah.
I go on them all. I
Yep.
check them.
For like personal use, like looking at chicks and stuff?
yeah.
Of course. I mean, I
There's
understand.
another problem with social media. Relationships are never going to be the same because guys are always like, "Ooh, look at this hot girl. I'm going to DM her."
Well, good news. That's what guys always did
Yeah.
past
Yeah,
I was
but
tense.
gonna
now
say.
these hot babes are at their fingertips, and so like they're like, you're all right, but you're sitting next to
I
them on
have
the
good
couch, like
ready
on
for
in
this? Ready
sweats,
for
no
this?
makeup. They're like, ooh,
Ready
look at this girl with her tits out.
Yeah, but girls do that too.
Yeah.
I don't think they do it like guys do.
Right. They're like, look, that guy looks super like well off and doing his fucking thing.
Ooh, look at this guy with the plane.
I don't know if you know, but it goes both ways. You're all in.
Yeah, I'm all in. I have one like small doubt of it, and that's like small. Obviously having a child.
Of course.
Kids being on phones early. Like, I think there's a certain level of learning how to have a conversation, look
Yes.
somebody in the eye, that gets lost with throwing an iPad in a
But
kid's
let's
face.
let's talk about this. You know that your grandfather
Yep.
has things like that you laughed out of the building. Like, to me, what's super interesting is, and I mean this is really smart talk, not like me trying to be funny. Why does looking somebody in the eye when you have a conversation, why does that need to be on a pedestal? Because I'll tell you, as a historian of communication, people shit on the telephone because the proper way to do it was to write a proper letter. Like, I think again, this is a theme, and I'm gonna bring it up again. It's fascinating that we put things in the past on pedestals, and I think it's incredible. Like, I'll be very honest, I'm very different than that. I have 2 young children. I want my kids on screens 24/7. I'm not kidding, and let me tell you why. What world do you think they're gonna live in?
That world.
100%.
Ain't going away.
You know, and like, just like watching film or getting in at 13 or 15, like, the reality is, like, here's what it is. Especially when you have that nice little girl when she's 1, you go right into protection mode and you start getting worried. Remember, MySpace was gonna get everybody kidnapped at the mall? Yeah. Like everybody goes to the negative instead of the positive. Let me give you a positive that nobody talks about. There are millions of children right now, young adults, who got into a high school or a junior high where it didn't click. Something happened. The normal shit that we all grew up with, right? Like, the wrong person picked on you. You liked somebody, they broke up with you in a weird way, and something happened, and your brand, aka your reputation, got affected. And in the past, you had nowhere to go. The fact that that kid could go home right now, put on Twitch, and hang out with his or her homies, right, across the world, is so powerful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yet we think social media is bullying kids. No. Kids are not being taught to lose, and so they don't know how to deal with adversity. So by the time you get to 14, when everybody just defaults into being a dick for fucking survival, and we were all there, you know, they're like, oh shit, I don't know how to handle this. It's bullying. Social media has so much good to it of people if you're a theater nerd, but you're in the deep NASCAR or NFL or whatever, but you can find your whole tribe on Instagram. It's very powerful, but we default into the negative versus the positive. Like, looking somebody in the eye, like, help me here.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I saying that you want your kids to respect people, that's different. As a matter of fact, again, I think, obviously we have a lot of issues in the air in our society right now, but I think the best way for people to respect people is to get to know about them. And I think that exposure that the internet does allows them the potential to respect. It also allows them, if they're misparented, to hate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think our kids are going to live in a massive technology world where they're going to be interacting with robots. And I promise you, every person listening and everybody thinking here right now, this iPhone and all the technology is going to seem lame as fuck in 15 years, because the same way that everybody who's listening that grew up with a pager, which was fucking crazy, and you were a narc if you had one, or a drug dealer, like, that is a piece of shit now, right? Yeah. And so, I don't know. I just don't think you can stop technology. And I think I'm trying to have this conversation because I think that, even at the young age that you guys are at, there's this quick trigger to look at the negative of it. And I just definitely believe that life is about perspective, delusion versus determination. I do think that we need to take a step back and realize how much good is being done because of this. Because the world has never been better when you look at the macro stats of poverty and everything, health, everything, and all of it's on the back of technology.
So you would think it's not weird if somebody didn't look at you. I'm stuck on this one. Looking someone in the eye. You wouldn't think it's weird if you talk to somebody and they were talking to you like this. Like if I.
But that's not what people do. What people actually, nobody without a phone in their hand looks. First of all, that's actually true. Some people do not look you in the eye because they're shy without a phone. But I'm not super affected by that. Nor would I be affected if I was talking to somebody right now and they were texting while I was talking, because I've done it as well, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. Yeah. And I also don't, like, I think people have ego. Way too much ego. Like, who the fuck are you that, like, somebody can't disrespect you? Like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
What about a firm handshake? Like if somebody gives you a...
I like a firm handshake, right? Because I think it's
it's kind of along the same lines.
Yeah, listen,
right?
but I'll go with... But I can think of two guys right now who have one of the, like, two very firm handshakes, and they're fucking soft and fucking losers.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, it's like, what is, like, okay, so where are we going with this firm handshake? like, because both those guys are fucking soft, they suck, they're actually dicks. I have no respect for them whatsoever. Their fucking handshakes are fucking legit, and their fucking jawline, tremendous.
Well, they got that right, don't they?
So, no, listen, here's what I would say. I don't want to shit on tried and true and tradition. I come from an Eastern European background. I've got a lot of things, but I care about the essence of what they meant. You want to not look me in the eye and not have a firm handshake, but be a respectful, awesome human being? I fuck with you. You see where I'm going? I think we've transferred those things we're actually trying to say into these little things, and then we hold the things on the pedestal.
I agree.
Where the intent, listen, I really don't want to go there, but I'm going to go there. It's why I'm fascinated by the kneeling on the national anthem thing. Mm-hmm. I'm fascinated by how a conversation can change from what it is. And so that's how I think about things. What's the point of looking somebody in the eye? Oh, grandpa, you want respect? I'm with you. Yeah. Respect matters. But the amount of people that look you in the eye and firm handshake and steal money in the back, cheat on their girl in the back, do all this stuff. So what are we talking about here? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's really interesting. I just landed from London 40 seconds ago. I watched, I'm fucking super wired up of like 9-hour flight. I'm 9 hours ahead. I'm like 5 or 6 hours ahead. I watched there was no Wi-Fi, which is the weirdest. When there's no weird Wi-Fi, my whole world goes bonkers. So thank God I caught up on all my work because I use my inbox as my work. And then I'm like, fuck, I have time. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, maybe I'll watch a movie, which is very rare for me to ever be off. So I watched the Paterno HBO movie, the Joe Paterno, Joe Pa, right? Respect, tradition, 61 years, 45 coach. And, I was watching, I was like, this is super powerful. The religion of college football, people reacted to over the well-being of 10-year-old boys being raped by a man. Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny? I get it, because I don't want to be a hypocrite, because guess what? When it comes to New York Jets, I'm not a rational person.
Who's your favorite New York Jet of all time?
Altoon.
Really?
I don't know if you know who that is. He's old. Yeah. But he's my favorite. I have an Altoon card up there. It's right up there behind Randy the Macho Man Savage, who is my favorite wrestler of all time.
Why not Broadway Joe, man?
Mainly because I didn't see him play. Yeah. I love the legend of Broadway Joe. I love that he was the coolest fucking dude of all time and all that stuff. But mainly on the back of that, I just didn't see him play, right? You're just so much more affected by what you see play. Let's do a little cross-pollination. Did you, Indianapolis racing, was it more Formula One culture or and that whole sport, or did you care about NASCAR, or did you care about nothing?
I mean, IndyCar was the big dog in Indianapolis. Yes. But I covered the Brickyard a few times.
Like, were you a Danica fan?
Yeah, of course.
That must have been huge, right?
She's like a pioneer. I mean, she's a chick.
Your age,
killing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Danica, and I love what she's continuing to do now, and just like turning her career into like such a much more
so that's your world
thing. I mean,
that was your world. I'm gonna ask them about their wrestling fandom or not.
I mean, that was my world, but I mean, I'm NFL's
You're
my
a Colts
favorite
fan.
sport. Yeah, Colts fan.
We'll talk about that in a
yeah.
second, because there's 2 very hardcore Jets-Colts playoff games in the last decade that I want to talk to you about. 3, actually, in the last 2 decades. Wrestling.
I was into it big, I think mid 90s when I was probably 8 to 12 years old.
Same era, that whole Stone Cold, or were you more WCW?
WCW.
Right,
like
'cause you're the
Glenn,
South. Yeah.
And like Sting and all those guys.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah, you were
that
more
was
of that.
and that was kind of like,
were
I was the
before.
age where my parents like, you probably don't need to watch too much of this. And then it was like, okay, whatever, watch it. And
Yeah.
I was all in for a while. And
Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
I love Sting.
Sting.
Come
He's a
from the
fucking
Raptors.
legend, of course.
Yeah. it was
Huge.
insane.
Nothing.
Not a big no.
Never? Never got
was
you.
into it, no.
All right, so we're gonna go to a Lions-Jets game, and I'm gonna take you to summer. I'm gonna take you to SummerSlam.
Yes.
No, you're in season during SummerSlam.
I
Survivors. Do you guys still do?
It's in LA, yeah.
Is that still Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's late November.
I was never big into wrestling or boxing or anything like that.
No.
I went to the Mayweather-McGregor fight, not wrestling, obviously.
That
But
was just like
that was pretty.
that was a
awesome.
cultural event.
Yeah.
You were into that?
Yeah, it was awesome. The
Yeah.
atmosphere was great.
Just being in
Ronda
Vegas.
Rousey's with us now, so maybe
Yeah.
That's
two worlds
right.
colliding.
I saw. I didn't see the event. That was WrestleMania where she popped out first.
Yeah.
She got really good reviews.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's actually like one of the most humble, down to earth people that I've come across. I mean, you would never guess that she was just inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame because she's super cool. She's just super down to earth.
She's trying to build her respect in the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Randy Savage over Ric Flair. I mean, I don't know a lot of
I
wrestlers.
loved Ric Flair. I'm a Northeast kid, so I was more WWF than kind of the NWA, WCW, the stuff that was going down south, but I watched both a lot. I used to love when one would switch leagues and just have a new character and the whole thing. That was always like fun, and this was pre-internet, so you didn't know it was coming. Now you know everything.
Yeah.
Back then, you just wake up Saturday and be like, oh, fuck, Billy Jack Hayes is now here? Like, it would be like so crazy.
Got an old school one for you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. That's awesome. Thank you.
Boy.
This guy, when he first came, so like, for example, let's talk about the Ultimate Warrior. I used to watch ESPN Houston, like Texas wrestling, where he was the Dingo Warrior down in Texas against the Von Erichs. Yeah. So when he came to the WWF, like I could make that connection. That was like, I was really, really interested. I'm still like when the Hall of Fame event was here, like I'm still like, I'm so busy, I consume no content. Like even the joke I made about watching a movie, so I'm a little bit behind it. But a lot of the WWE guys are starting to DM me on Instagram, and it's super fun. And like I'm trying to like figure out how to hack my time to watch a little bit more because I want to get back into it because a lot of them are giving me love, which makes it fun.
Which ones?
Sheamus has hit me up.
Ooh.
Wyatt has hit me
Okay.
up. It's coming.
Yeah.
And it's like super fun. Rey Mysterio, like it's super fun.
Yeah. You a hockey fan?
I grew up a huge Rangers fan. So like literally the reason we're in my office right now, and when we built this office,
didn't even know we were
there's
like
two
that.
corners, and the other one is a much better view. Like it's of the Hudson. You can see the fucking Statue of Liberty. I look at Jersey. I'm such a proud Jersey boy. But the Knicks and Rangers, like the Garden is. That's where I won. The '94 Rangers won me my first championship when I was 18, and I like watched all 4 sports, which means like since I was 6, so it's like 48 seasons of losing. Jets, Knicks, Rangers, Yankees, because the Yankees weren't good when I was a kid.
Right.
So I was a huge hockey fan.
Yeah. I love hockey.
Yeah, that's that territory, right? Are
Red
you
Wings.
big?
Yeah, I went to.
That's real religion.
Oh, Red Wings are serious.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge.
They're great games. They're fun to go to.
What can I answer for you guys real quick, and then we'll bounce out of here? Anything I can answer for you?
For me, just me planning, like, I don't know, I'm looking in the future always as a driver.
Post driving?
Yeah, post driving.
Okay, go ahead.
Like
35, 40, 45, those years?
45.
Okay.
You know, if I can make
Yep.
it to 45, it'd be an awesome
Yep.
career. And but I don't want to stop there. I want to keep the path going, like the things that I need to do to when I hang the helmet up at 45, the next day I'm stepping into.
So I think one thing that social really works out for all 3 of you that I would tell you that it's the answer for all 3 of you, become religious about the audience. I think the thing that, Vince and the whole crew there has done, and if you think about when NASCAR does well or doesn't do well, or other sports do well or don't do well, when I think about my career or the things we do at this company for marketing, I don't think people care about the audience enough at times. They get caught. It's not that they're bad, it's that they get into their own dynamics. They go inside, they don't become consumer centric. I think if you keep reading those comments, keep engaging with it, keep putting out content, you'll be unbelievably stunned on how easy the answers will come of what to do because it's been said to you in the trenches.
Okay,
Makes sense.
Got it?
Yeah.
What do you got, Sean?
I admire you because your network is so huge, and I feel like everybody is, I've exchanged, a DM with Gary before. Oh, I've, seen him here, and it's like everybody knows you and has had maybe some type of interaction with you, although it may be small, but you just seem to be able to create such a network and keep it. Whereas I feel like I could meet someone who I'm like, oh my God, I met this girl yesterday. She was awesome. I want to grab dinner with her, and a week later, I'm like, oops, I forgot. It's like,
So
You're like, who was that blonde?
and it's like I don't even have that many people in my life, but you
Yeah.
have millions of, and you just manage to curate these relationships with them and keep them going and building them. And it's almost overwhelming to me.
Look, I think much like anything else, like every one of us does something that is overwhelming to each other. For me, people have always come natural. It's really funny if you think about earlier 10 minutes ago what I was talking about with people interaction. It's crazy because my love in life is other people. And so it's probably why I got to like, it's the respect isn't the ire to shake, it's the truth. Look, my truth is like, I really like people. And it starts with like closest to the sun. Like I would die for my family, and then out from that, I think my employees that are in here will tell you, like, there's just a different level of how I manage it because I just like them more. Like I don't even know what else to really, it's not super complicated. I want to be admired and liked. I admire them. I give respect right off the bat. You have to lose it. It's not like you got to earn it. It's that lack of ego that I think, I have so much confidence and bravado and a personality that pours one way, but I think in my actions, I really, the thing I'm proud of is the ability to have humility because I never think I've done, I think everything I've done yesterday back means nothing. It's very weird. It really works for me. Like I get it, but like, I'm the reverse. I don't romanticize the back. Like it's probably why I push against this I'm even like psychoanalyzing myself right now. I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense. I think people are the 100% ROI of life. Like starting with like the people that come to your funeral, like, and think about it, start with the end. Like who'd you compel enough that you like, do you know, I think going to a funeral is the most fascinating thing in society because I'm surprised the funerals I was willing to not go to. I'm being very real with everybody. I'm fascinated by some of the people I did business with in the liquor business over the last 20 years. I was very young, I was a kid and like kind of like, generational family business. I think it's very interesting in a world where we're all selfish and doing our thing, who's brought you so much value that you will just stop? Obviously your family members, but then what? Like, right? It's just super interesting. And I've basically been living my life for a pretty long time now on, can I be so great that everybody stops and comes to my funeral? And it's funny. I've always been like, for a long time, I never talked about it. Then I talked about it. I'm like, is that douchey? Like, what is that? And now I kind of like, I'm super happy I'm like that. It means that like, I want to do the right thing and like for the right reasons, not the makeup of what respect and admiration and kindness is, but the actual truth behind it. So yeah, I value, and I'm also grateful. I'm unlike actually listening to all three of you, because of what you wanted to do, there was always a thought, if you guys became big time drivers, if you got on television, you knew that you would have some level of fame and whether you dreamed about it, for TV, you dreamed about it. For you, it could have been a little bit different, but you just knew you'd be known. For me, I always wanted to be a businessman. And that didn't mean that anybody would ever know you. So for me, all this attention came when I was not looking for it, and I was well into my late 30s when it became like, oh, this is gonna get like I think I'm gonna be the next Oprah in like white dude form, and so like there's a level of gratitude that makes me like the fact that people wanna know who I am seems weird and amazing and all of that. What do you got, bro?
I think for me, probably a basic question for you.
Cool.
Social media
Basic's good.
We have so many sponsors and so many people we're trying to make happy, and
that's right.
Right? Makes
that's
our
right.
world go round. How do we support them and show them on social media without looking cheese? I mean, what they want and what I want to post.
Your basic question is actually the question.
Yeah.
So
right.
Good job. I think it's communication. I think first of all, right now you're young. And like the leverage you have is different than, let's say, a top 5 racer 10, 15 years in with championships. But it will always be communication. I think whether it's your makeup at this young of an age or when you have the leverage, the right answer is, hey, you're my sponsor. You want me to do good for you. I don't want to do what you want me to do on social, which then means it's going to feel inauthentic, which then means it's dead. If I had never worn a pair of K-Swiss when I was a kid, I would have never done the collaboration. Right. Thank God. I mean this is not a joke because I would have wanted to. Thank God I had one, and I'm trying to think. I've still been battling with my head. I try to find Andy Greco. If you're watching this, 6th grade when you wore those weird red sneakers with leaves on them, and I made fun of you, and I apologize for that. Well, did I have K-Swiss or was that Adidas? I need your help on that because I can't remember. But I definitely remember the one K-Swiss tennis sneakers I had. I think authenticity matters. Yeah. Now, you don't have say the way I do, and so you've got a sponsor too that maybe isn't your favorite power drink or what have you. That's what I think it is authenticity. One, I think you need to be posting what you want to be posting. Obviously, you need to be able to deal with the ramifications. Like if you say things that are not going to fly, you'll have to deal with that. But I do think when you're obligated to do a post, I would ready? Macho Man's my favorite wrestler. If I had to post this, I would do some sort of post that'd be like a weird face, and in my copy, I'd be like, here's my Ultimate Warrior story. Number 1, when he beat Macho Man, I fucking hated him for it, right? Number 2, when I loved him as the Dingo Warrior at his battles with Rick Rude in the Texas League that later went to I would tell the truth.
Right.
And so that's, there's people in sports that are being represented or have sponsorship deals with a product that they, for example, we work with Pepsi, and I told Pepsi, and say it loud right now, they're currently a multi-million-dollar client. I grew up drinking Coke.
Right.
I just think the truth is always the leverage. My K-Swiss deal, my sneaker deal, almost died because in the clause, I would not sign that I would only wear K-Swiss, even though they give me millions of dollars.
They make the tubes. K-Swiss, is that them?
What's that, the tubes?
Yeah, the shoes with the tubes on the bottom. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm trying to think, though. I don't think so. What are the tubes?
The little circles, on the bottom of the shoe.
The Air?
Yeah,
I think that's Nike.
ones.
You mean that little lip?
Yeah.
That's Nike, right? The Air?
No.
You're thinking of something else?
K-Swiss.
All right, we'll look at it after. I don't know. He's talking about those circles that like this, right? Yeah, these, right?
Yeah. That's
You
K-Swiss,
have those?
Right? No, I don't have those, but
You want some?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, awesome. we
You're
have
really
a lot of business to do.
He's gonna
Jets Lions, Survivor Series, fucking K-Swiss with tubes.
We'll just go home.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody's watching, follow these 3, support their careers. Thank you again.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.